Okay, let me just say this straight. If you have ever bought something, got home, put it down, and then thought, why did I just buy that? This video is for you. If you have ever checked your bank account and genuinely not been able to explain where half of it went, this video is for you. If you have ever told yourself you are going to stop spending money on things you do not need and then done it again 3 days later, this video is absolutely for you. Because here's the thing, we all know we should not spend money we do not have. We all know we do not need half the things we buy. That information is not the problem. You already know it. I already know it. The problem is the gap between knowing it and actually doing it. And that gap, that specific frustrating space between knowing better and doing better, is exactly what we are going to close today. Because stopping impulse spending is not about becoming a different person. It's not about having more willpower than you currently have. It's not about punishing yourself or white-knuckling your way through every purchase. It's about building a specific set of practical tools and honest awareness that makes the better choice easier than the worse one. And we're going to go through all of them. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand, you are not weak. You are being marketed to. Before we talk about how to stop this pattern, I need to address something that most money conversations skip completely. The reason you keep spending money on things you do not need is not primarily because you lack discipline. It is because an entire trillion-dollar industry has spent decades studying human psychology specifically to make you spend. The sale that ends tonight? It creates urgency that does not actually exist. The suggested items at checkout, designed by algorithms that know your purchasing patterns better than you do. The one-click purchase button, engineered to remove every possible moment of hesitation between impulse and transaction. The influencer casually using a product, not casual, paid and calculated. The limited stock warning, sometimes real, often manufactured. None of this is accidental. None of this is neutral. You are navigating a system that is specifically designed to get money out of your pocket. The fact that it works does not mean you are weak. It means they are very good at their job. Understanding this matters because it changes the frame from, why can I not control myself, to, how do I build defenses against a system specifically designed to bypass my self-control? That is a completely different and much more winnable problem. The second thing, get completely honest about the difference between want and need. This sounds obvious, but most people have been blurring the line between these two things for so long that they genuinely cannot feel the difference anymore. Everything they want starts to feel like something they need, and everything they need gets used to justify everything they want. Here's a simple test. Ask yourself, if I did not buy this today, would anything actually be wrong tomorrow? Not uncomfortable, not slightly inconvenient, actually wrong. Would a genuine problem exist? If yes, that's closer to a need. The grocery run, the medication, the work tool, the car repair, these things failing to happen create real problems. If no, that's a want. And there's nothing wrong with wants. You are allowed to spend money on things you want. But when the spending is coming out of money you do not have, when it's going on a credit card that is already full or taking from rent money or eliminating your savings contribution, then it's not a want being fulfilled, it's a future problem being created. The want versus need conversation is not about denying yourself everything enjoyable. It's about being honest enough to call a want instead of dressing it up as something more necessary than it is. The third thing, create friction between yourself and the purchase. The people who spend the least impulsively are not the people with the most willpower. They are the people who have put the most space between the moment of wanting and the moment of buying. Because here is what impulse spending relies on. Speed. The faster the want becomes a purchase, the less time your rational brain has to ask any questions. The entire design of modern shopping, the saved card details, the one-click checkout, the auto-filled shipping address, is about eliminating the friction that protects you. So, add the friction back deliberately. Unlink your credit card from your shopping apps. Not permanently necessarily, just removed enough that buying requires manual entry. Delete the apps that make spending too easy. Turn off saved payment information in your phone settings. Remove the autofill from your browser. When you have to physically get up, find your card, type in the number, suddenly the purchase requires conscious participation rather than automatic completion. And in that moment of conscious participation, the rational brain gets a word in. And the rational brain often says, "Do I actually want this?" Add a waiting period to every non-essential purchase. 24 hours for anything under $50, 48 hours for anything over. In that waiting period, you do most of the work your brain needs to distinguish between genuine desire and impulse. The fourth thing, give every dollar a job before it arrives. We have talked about zero-based budgeting before, but in the context of stopping impulse spending, it's worth revisiting with a specific focus, because the reason most impulse spending is possible is that there is money sitting in the account with no assignment. Unassigned money is available money, and available money is spending money. When you receive your paycheck and every single dollar already has a specific destination, rent, groceries, savings, debt payment, investment, fun budget, there is no loose money floating around looking for somewhere to go. The impulse purchase does not have a funding source. This is particularly powerful because it reframes the question you ask yourself in the impulse moment. Instead of, "Can I afford this?" the question becomes, "Which category does this come from?" And if the honest answer is, "It comes from nowhere, it would take from something else," that answer is often enough to stop the purchase on its own. The fun budget is specifically important here. Give yourself a specific monthly amount that is yours to spend on whatever you want with no judgment, no explanation, no guilt. When it is gone, it is gone. When it is present, you can spend it freely. This removes the need for the justification and the sneaking and the telling yourself it was practical when it was not. Your fun money is your fun money. Own it and use it cleanly. The fifth thing, understand your specific spending triggers. Not all impulse spending looks the same. Different people have different triggers and spending patterns that are as individual as fingerprints. Until you know yours, you are fighting a general battle when you need to be fighting a specific one. For some people, the trigger is boredom. Sunday afternoon with nothing to do becomes a browsing session, becomes 3 packages arriving by Wednesday. The solution is not willpower. It is a Sunday plan that does not involve a phone and a shopping app. For some people, the trigger is stress. The hard week, the difficult conversation, the work pressure. The specific relief of buying something in a moment where everything else feels out of control. The solution is not telling yourself not to shop. It is identifying what the shopping is doing for you and finding an alternative that meets the same need without the price tag. For some people, the trigger is social media, the specific moment of scrolling and seeing someone else's purchase or lifestyle that activates wanting. The solution is not more willpower. It is an honest audit of which accounts reliably make you feel behind or make you want things you did not want 10 minutes ago, and then unfollowing those accounts without guilt. For some people, the trigger is the environment, specific stores, specific malls, specific websites that they simply cannot navigate without buying something. The solution is reducing exposure. You cannot be triggered by something you are not around. Know your triggers, build your solutions around your actual patterns, not a generic version of someone else's. The sixth thing, make the real cost visible before you buy. One of the most effective tools for stopping impulse spending is learning to translate the price of things into something that hits differently than the number on the tag. Your time is worth something. Whatever you earn per hour, that number is the real price of everything you buy. A $60 item is not $60. It's 3 hours of your working life that you will never get back. Is this thing worth 3 hours of your time? That question lands very differently than, is this thing worth $60? Your future is worth something. Every dollar spent on something you do not need is a dollar not invested. That $60 item is not $60. At 8% compound interest over 20 years, it's approximately $280. Is this thing worth $280 of your future wealth? That question also lands very differently than the price tag. Your goals are worth something. You have things you want to achieve financially, a house deposit, an emergency fund, a debt-free life, a retirement that is not just surviving. Every impulse purchase is a vote against those goals. Not enough to destroy them on its own, but a vote nonetheless. When you learn to see the full price of a purchase, in time, in future value, in goal progress, the price tag stops being the only information you have, and better information makes better decisions. The 7th thing, stop shopping when you are not shopping. This one sounds simple, but it is one of the most effective behavioral changes available to you. Most impulse spending does not start with going to a store to buy something specific. It starts with browsing, with scrolling, with just looking. But just looking is almost never just looking. Every browsing session is an exposure session. Every scroll is a series of wants being created that did not exist before the scroll. You cannot buy something you have not seen, and you cannot want something you have not been shown. So stop the browsing. Delete the apps from your home screen. Unsubscribe from every retail email list, every sale notification, every new arrival alert, every exclusive member offer. Unfollow every brand account on social media, not because you can never buy things again, but because you want the decision to buy something to start with you, with a genuine need or a genuine desire that arrived from your own life, rather than with a marketing stimulus that created a want you did not previously have. Go to stores with a list. Buy the list. Leave. Browse with a purpose and a limit, not as a leisure activity. The 8th thing. Replace the habit, not just resist it. Here is something that behavioral science has established very clearly. You cannot simply remove a habit. You have to replace it. The brain that reaches for the shopping app at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday when it is bored and restless is not going to accept do nothing as an alternative. It needs something, and if you do not give it something, it will go back to the thing it knows. So what replaces the browsing session, the mindless spend, the I deserve this purchase? For some people, it is a specific physical activity, a walk, a workout, a stretch, something that uses the body instead of the phone. For some people, it is a creative outlet, cooking something, drawing something, writing something. For some people, it is a social connection, a call with someone they like, a message to someone they've been meaning to reach. For some people, it is something simple and free, a bath, a book, a podcast, a show they were already going to watch anyway. The replacement does not have to be virtuous, it just has to be present, something that meets the underlying need, rest, stimulation, distraction, connection, reward, without charging your credit card in the process. Find your replacement before you need it, because in the moment of the trigger, you're not going to have the presence of mind to figure it out. You need to already know what the alternative is, so that when the urge arrives, the path to the replacement is shorter than the path to the purchase. The 9th thing. Be kind to yourself when you slip. This one matters more than most people give it credit for, because if you shame yourself every time you make an impulse purchase, the shame itself becomes a trigger for more spending. The guilt of spending leads to stress. The stress leads to more spending to relieve it. The cycle continues. Slipping is part of the process. You will buy something you did not need. You will ignore the 24-hour rule once. You will have a rough week and reach for the shopping cart instead of the better alternative. This is not failure. This is human. What matters is not the slip. It is what you do with the slip. Do you notice it honestly, without catastrophizing? This happened, this is what triggered it, this is what I can do differently next time, and move on? Or do you spiral into shame and defeat that makes the next impulse purchase more likely rather than less? Treat yourself like someone you are trying to help, because you are. The version of you that made the impulse purchase was doing the best they could with what they had in that moment. The version of you watching this video is building better tools. Both of those versions of you deserve some grace. So, here is everything in one place. How to stop spending money you do not have on things you do not need. Understand that you are being marketed to. This is not a willpower problem. Get honest about want versus need and stop blurring the line. Create friction between yourself and the purchase. Slow the impulse down. Give every dollar a job before it arrives. Leave no money unassigned. Know your specific triggers and build solutions around your actual patterns. Make the real cost visible. Translate price tags into time and future value. Stop browsing when you are not actually shopping. Do not create wants that did not exist. Replace the habit. Give the underlying need a better solution. Be kind to yourself when you slip. Shame is a spending trigger too. None of this requires perfection. None of it requires becoming a completely different person. All of it requires one thing: the consistent decision to be a little more intentional today than you were yesterday. That is all it ever takes. I'm Zara, and we're just getting started.